Hello friends, today I will tell you about the highest historical race ERH and attempt to break a new speed record that was held on the dry salt Lake of Bonneville. The Bonneville Salt Flats are in Utah, USA, near the border with Nevada, and as the name suggests, it's a very big and very flat area of land. Speed freaks began using the terrain for racing way back in 1912. Since 1935, Bonneville's been one of the primary venues for land speed record attempts, with most land speed records recorded between 1935 and 1970 set there. The flats were first recognized for their potential as a speed testing ground by Bill Rischel, who in 1896 had cycled across the area to win a competition run by the newspaper publisher William Randolph Hearst. In 1907, Rischel and two local businessmen tested the suitability of the salt for driving on by taking a Pierce arrow onto the flats. A railway line across the Bonneville Salt Flats was completed in 1910, marking the first permanent crossing. The use of the Salt Flats as a speedway began in 1914 with Teddy Tetsoff's run, which exceeded the land speed record, although the new record was not officially recognized. Rischel continued to promote the area for racing, and in 1927 Ab Jenkins raced against a train over a 125-mile, 201 km stretch between Salt Lake City and Wendover. Jenkins went on to set up a 10-mile, 16 km circular course on the salt, which he used to establish 24-hour records in 1932 and 1933. The area became internationally famous in 1935 when Malcolm Cabell set a new land speed record, making him the first to break the 300 mph, 480 km/h mark. For the next 35 years, nearly all land speed records were set at the Salt Flats. Drivers descended on the flats from around the world, bringing with them custom-designed vehicles with precisely streamlined bodies and extraordinarily powerful engines. Various classes of competing vehicles emerged, including streamliners, roadsters, and by the early 1960s, jet-powered cars. The last outright record to be set at Bonneville Salt Flats was on October 23, 1970, when Gary Gablett's rocket-powered Blue Flame peaked at 1,014.6 kph, making him the first to exceed 1,000 kph, 621 mph. Currently, there are 5 major land speed events that take place at the Bonneville Salt Flats. Bonneville Speed Week takes place mid-August, followed by World of Speed in September, and the World Finals take place early October. These 3 events welcome cars, trucks, and motorcycles. The above motorcycle speed trials are for motorcycles only. World records are contested at the Mike Cook Shootout in September. The Southern California Timing Association and the Utah Salt Flats Racing Association organizes and plans the multi-vehicle events, but all event promoters contribute to prepping and maintaining the salt. Several times a year, hundreds of people gather here on the most incredible cars and motorcycles that you will not be able to see anywhere else. Long cigar-shaped streamliners, stocky Lakesters on huge and narrow wheels, pot-bellied belly tankers, vintage coupes, electric cars of all stripes, diesel and turbojet trucks. What is not here? For the latest Speed Week, the funny folks from Nevada arrived at a streamliner powered by hundreds of twisted aircraft rubber bands, and then they set their own speed record as much as 45 km/h. Whatever you come to drive to Salt, you will definitely find a place on the start line. After all, registration of speed records is carried out for 33 types of bodies, 13 classes of engine volume and 12 types of engines. Long ago, in 1896, the organizer of the Trans-American Bicycle Race from New York to San Francisco, William D. Ritchell, accidentally found himself in the forgotten town of Wendover, Utah, 88 miles from Salt Lake City. The natives showed the visiting entrepreneur local attraction, the giant dry salt lake Bonneville. Ritchell was struck not only by its grandiose size and frightening beauty, but also by the flat, table-like surface that stretched to the very horizon. Back in New York, Ritchell told the newspapers about Bonneville as a place ideal for mass auto racing. The thought of organizing record high-speed races on the salt track for many years haunted him. Only 18 years later, Ritchell managed to convince the legendary pilot of those years, the fearless Teddy Tesleff, to make a series of races in Utah. And in 1914 he set an unofficial world speed record of 228 km/h in a Blitz and Benz car. And 2 years later, Ritchell's friend, Salt Lake City carpenter and car enthusiast Ab Jenkins, organized the first survival race in Bonneville. He managed to drive 4,345 km along a circular 10-mile track in 24 hours at an average speed of 180 km/h. Thus began the legend of Bonneville, the fastest place on Earth, and at the same time, the history of a special kind of motorsport, land speed racing, one-on-one racing with speed. In the 1920s and 1930s, motor racing enthusiasts from all over the western United States flocked to Bonneville. At first they were single enthusiasts, then they began to gather in groups, then to the clubs, and finally, in the late 1930s, several racing associations were organized to restore elementary order in the registration of speed records. The largest of these were the Southern California Timing Association, SCTA, the Rosetta Timing Association, RTA, which included 15 clubs and existed until the late 1950s, and the Utah Salt Flats Racing Association, USFRA, which is still alive today. Prior to this, dozens of amateur clubs held races according to their own rules, and the number of records was in the hundreds. Thank you for watching. For motivation to look for new high historical achievements, put a like. You can watch each other in T-Resting the IDOS on our channel.